Stiff-legged?
Taking 1 inch step.
The challenge was straightforward, if not slightly insane. Rebuild a rusted out frame and replace the clapped out suspension on an old Tacoma that was destined for the scrapyard, then drive it 10,000 kilometers through some of the harshest terrain in Canada and Alaska. This was a big learning experience for me and a reminder that building a truck in your garage doesn't end when the tools are put away. Every bolt, every weld, every compromise made in the garage would be tested far, far away from any cell service or spare parts. We're 3 weeks into this Arctic adventure, and so far I'm pleased to report that somehow the thing is still running completely fine. It's made it all the way to Tuktoyaktuk at the edge of the Arctic Ocean, and then back down the infamous Dempster Highway and over the top of the World Highway. We've just crossed into Alaska now, and it's becoming clear that the truck isn't really even the thing that we need to worry about. Maybe the real concern now is us, the people. We're on a mission to get ourselves across Alaska and back out the other side, hopefully in one piece. After a night in Chicken, Alaska, a place so strange it managed to claim one of my best pairs of underwear to something called the Underwear Cannon, we're back on the road. The plan is simple: head south towards Valdez, then on to Anchorage, and finally Anchor Point, tracing a line through the heart of Alaska. On the way to Valdez, the drive quickly turns into one of the most spectacular stretches of road we've seen yet. Endless valleys and snow-capped peaks stretch off into the distance. Somewhere along a high ridge, we stop for lunch, looking out over one of the most beautiful vistas we have ever seen. A moment like this makes all the tough days wrenching on the truck in the garage worth the effort. For a moment, the journey feels effortless. But in Alaska, things are quick to change. As we packed up lunch, a German man appeared over the side of the ridge, curious about the drone buzzing overhead. He spoke with the calm enthusiasm of someone who's seen a few things and politely insisted we take a few shots of him along the mountains. We obliged, and in doing so, made a new friend on the hillside. He had shipped his vehicle all the way from Germany and was driving the length of the Pan-American Highway, a journey that would take him several years. Standing there surrounded by the vast Alaskan wilderness, our own trip suddenly felt very small. Just a chapter in a much bigger story of people chasing the edges of the map. We are on our way to Valdez today, going from the Palmer area, or we didn't quite make it all the way to Palmer. We turned off at Glen Allen, and yeah, now we're going to be in Valdez for a day. Our big destination is Anchorage, but Valdez has been on our want-to-do list for a long time. We're already getting into some pretty crazy mountains here. I know there's a lot to see and do in that area, so yeah, Valdez should be awesome. We make one last stop before reaching Valdez at Glacier Lake, a place that looks like it was carved by the gods themselves. Icebergs the size of houses drift silently across the frigid water. The air is sharp, clean, and impossibly still. One doesn't simply visit Glacier Lake, they arrive, to be humbled by its sheer, untamed beauty. We enjoy the lake for a time, then move along, entering into the limits of Valdez. Valdez has a colorful past. It was the site of the infamous 1989 oil tanker spill just off the coast, a disaster that not only devastated the environment, but also threatened the local economy, which relies heavily on fishing, tourism, and outdoor adventure. The spill sparked a massive global cleanup effort, and for years it cast a long shadow over the small Alaskan town. The disaster spurred legislative changes, most notably the U.S. Oil Pollution Act of 1990, which mandated double-hulled tankers and created a national fund for future spill responses. These days, Valdez has made a remarkable comeback, all things considered. Fish populations are returning, tourism is thriving, and the town is once again a gateway to some of Alaska's most stunning natural scenery. Nestled between huge peaks and the icy waters of Prince William Sound, Valdez feels like the end of the road and the beginning of something wild all at once. It's a place where rugged mountains meet glacial rivers and where the sense of resilience hangs in the air. We make our way down to the docks to check out the awesome fishing vessels, and it's impossible not to notice the silent contrast in the harbor. Weathered, battle-scarred boats sit peacefully at the docks, their paint chipped and their decks faded and worn, yet they radiate a quiet confidence. You can see the stories of the brutal Alaskan seas they've conquered, of the storms survived and the nets hauled. If you're looking for a place that feels rugged and authentic, Valdez is the place to be. So we're checking out Valdez right now and just learning about the area. Apparently this place gets so much snow that at least one ship or one boat in the harbor will sink in the winter due to how much snow they get, just weighing that boat down. It's crazy. We are rolling into Anchorage now. This is a big milestone on the trip for us. We've done the Dempster, we've done Tuktoyaktuk, we've gotten into Alaska and done the fun things like chicken, and we just spent last night in Palmer, Alaska. Palmer's a nice little town. I wanted to spend a little bit more time there, but Allison is flying out of Anchorage on Sunday, and it's now getting to be Friday afternoon here. It's been crazy. I can't believe that we are actually making it to Anchorage. I was just thinking for so long about getting here. You know, this is a big turning point because after this I'll be alone in the vehicle again. John and I will be turning back south, driving through British Columbia again. It's just like I said, it's just a really big milestone on this trip for us. So we're gonna hang around Anchorage. I'll be here for about a week. I'm gonna get like an oil change done on the vehicle, have the tires rotated, and see what there's to see in Anchorage. Might do something like a little float plane tour. You can fly out to glaciers and mountains and do some pretty cool things here. So we're gonna see what Anchorage has to offer. Allison's flying home, and then we'll be on the road south again. This is definitely the busiest metro center that we've been in since leaving Whitehorse. I would say that Whitehorse didn't even have this feel to it. This is pretty busy. This reminds me kind of a little bit of downtown Vancouver in a way, because we're right by the water. Lots of people, lots of hotels, lots of big trucks. Feels like a big metro center here. Even though Anchorage is only 300,000 people. I mean, that is a lot, but you know, downtown Vancouver is at least 1 million, I want to say. Not downtown Vancouver, but the Vancouver whole is over. After 2 incredible weeks on the road, Allison's part of the journey comes to an end here in Anchorage. She's flying home while John and I will continue the trip. Airport goodbyes are always tough. Traveling together through wild, remote places creates a rhythm that's tough to break. Morning coffees by the tailgate, long drives through crazy northern landscapes, and enjoying the endless road together. It feels like the first real pause where we'll have to rethink the day-to-day strategy of being on the road. It's tough being down a person, and it's a good reminder that these adventures always come with their own mix of excitement and bittersweet moments. The fly-in, fly-out method works well for people whose schedules don't exactly line up together. As Allison flies out, my mom flies in to spend a few days in Anchorage while we're here. She's never been to Alaska either, and she's been itching to see what the last frontier is all about. It's a pretty special handoff. One person leaving, full of new perspectives, and another arriving wide-eyed and ready for adventure. Alaska's aviation history runs deep. Bush planes and float planes have long been the lifeline that connected its scattered towns in remote wilderness. Out here, aviation isn't just a mode of travel, it's a way of life. We decided to experience it for ourselves and booked a float plane flight over the massive Knik Glacier and the mountains that surround it. There's something almost surreal about lifting off from the water in a small single-engine Cessna, skimming across the surface before climbing into the vast Alaskan sky. The roar of the engine is deafening, and the headsets aren't just a recommendation, they're a necessity. We load up and prepare ourselves for a few hours in the sky. About 30 minutes out of Anchorage, I realized that unfortunately, breakfast isn't sitting quite right as we bump and dip our way over the massive mountain range and glacier fields. The deeper we get into this flight, the heavier that lump in my stomach grows, and before I know it, I'm scrambling for the nearest puke bag, praying I can get to it in time. The engine noise is all-consuming, which is probably a blessing, as it masks the chaos going on in my headset and the sickness that's about to ensue. Only the pilot and whoever else happens to share our radio frequency know what's happening in the back seat. It's a humbling moment, sitting there pale and queasy, in one of the most beautiful places I've ever been motion sick. But even through the nausea, I can't help but stare out the window. The view is unreal, the light glinting off the ice, the peaks stretching endlessly. It's a rough ride, but still an incredible day to be up in the Alaskan air. Our time in Alaska has been incredible so far, but things are about to take a turn and really test our mental and physical fortitude. It's problems like this that are usually unforeseen, throw a big wrench, and are difficult to find a solution to. We are at an Airbnb in Anchorage. So Allison has flown out, and my mom actually flew in, and she's spending a couple days here in Anchorage. Not with John at the moment. He's off doing his own thing. But I've been sick. I've been sick for the past couple of days. Not really sure what's going on. Got a bit of a GI upset going on. Not sure if it's some minor food poisoning or something a little bit more sinister, a little bit worse. Having a bit of a rough go here for the past couple of days, and it's not fun being in this position where you're not in your home country and you're sick, because I'm a little bit reluctant to use the healthcare system in the US here. It is what it is, but hopefully it resolves here tomorrow after a good night's sleep and we can get back to our trip. That's our Anchorage update for you. Looking back on this moment now is tough. What I didn't know at the time, what I'd only find out after getting home, seeing a doctor, and going through a few tests, is that my gallbladder isn't doing its job properly. It's been struggling to digest fats, and that bug I thought I had on the trip wasn't a bug at all. Now, sitting here writing this, surgery has become a very real possibility. It's strange reflecting on it, knowing what's ahead. My past self that's doing laundry in the sink of the Airbnb had no idea the next few weeks would be filled with discomfort, unanswered questions, and a lot of struggle. Laundry in the sink tonight. It's all part of the game. But I'm almost out of clothes, so this is what it's gotta be. All right, so it's day 4 in Anchorage. Like I said, I've been sick for a couple days now. Just trying to rest and recover on the couch in our Airbnb here, just getting some minor things done and taken care of, opening up the tent, doing laundry, getting some good food, getting a couple of good showers in, right? It's been pretty slow around here. For you guys that are familiar with the US healthcare system, or if you're not familiar with the US healthcare system,
honestly, I don't know how you guys get anything done. I was considering going in and getting some blood work done, some labs done to tell me a little bit more about what's going on inside me. I have travel insurance. I called them. They were not able to tell me if I'd be covered or not. So I called the urgent care. They were not able to tell me anything about their billing process or if they'd even be able to do a simple set of labs. The urgent care instructed me to call my insurance company, which I had already done. And so I was just getting the workaround on both sides of the equation. And I'm sure if you're familiar with the U.S. healthcare system, this is nothing new to you. But if you're not familiar with the healthcare system here in the United States, it can be a bit of a nightmare, and I'm experiencing that firsthand, just trying to get some help. So thankfully, I'm feeling better this morning. My symptoms seem to be clearing up a little bit, and I might not have to interact with the healthcare system here. But for those of you that have to deal with this on a regular basis, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. There's got to be a better way. And I'm sure that if you're a United States citizen and you pay taxes in the US and you have appropriate insurance, then it might not be so bad. But for a traveler, even with travel insurance, it can be a bit of a nightmare. So just a forewarning. Thankfully, I'm feeling better. Gonna go tour a little bit around Anchorage today. Hopefully, show my mom a good time because she's still here with me and she's been putting up with my antics here, being sick for the past couple days. So, it's been a bit of an interesting couple days here.
We close things out at the Airbnb and my mom flies home. I can't say that I gave the best Alaska experience ever, but we did the best we could with what we had. Still not sure of what is actually causing my sickness, I push on down the Kenai Peninsula to get to one of the last main objectives of this adventure, Anchor Point, the most western point you can drive in all of North America. My symptoms come and go, sometimes quite bad, other times I almost feel back to normal, but I'm not going to let this stop me from completing this journey. So, further on down the road we go.
All right, we made it. Despite being a little sick, despite being a little tired, despite being a little homesick, we made it. This is the westernmost point that you can drive in all of North America. Is what a journey it has been. It comes to a point right here in this little town called Anchor Point, and it's really cool to see this sign. Can't believe we did it. Can't believe we put in all those miles. I feel pretty crappy. I think I need to get back to Canada here at some point and maybe get some medical attention, go to a doctor. I really felt the need to make the push out here to this point and say that I did it, say that I've been here. It's incredible. That is the story from Anchor Point.
After wrapping up at the westernmost point, I drop down and drive up the beach just outside of town in search of a nice lunch spot and a potential camp spot for the evening.
So I've just pulled down onto the beach here outside of Anchor Point. Behind me are incredible views of Mount Iliamna and Mount Redoubt. Two incredible vistas from this beach that you can see. I'm just so not used to being able to see mountains across the ocean. It's spectacular down here. This beach is incredible. I think you can actually camp down here. So we're gonna go try to find a camp spot for tonight, see if we're successful.
These last few days have been a reminder that adventure doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. Few things in life do. From rebuilding an old truck to pushing through sickness and uncertainty, it's been about showing up anyway. Now standing at the edge of the continent, with the ocean stretching out in front of me, I couldn't help but feel grateful for the struggle, for the journey, and for the chance to keep going, despite the challenges that lay ahead. Thanks for watching episode 4 of our adventure through Alaska.
Well, it doesn't get much better than that. Sunset by the ocean and a couple of big mountains with a fire on the beach. Pretty good end to the day.